G'day everybody and welcome back to the Hardball Gets AFL show. It is the Friday teams. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do that wherever you listen. Give us a rating, give us a review, and most importantly of all, tell your mates. All right, let's get stuck in.
Got the touch? Download the Tab Touch app today. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
This is the Hardball Gets AFL show. My name's Nick Rinn, joined by Xavier Ellis and Ryan Daniel live from Adelaide. How are we going, boys?
I'm going good, Nick. My name's Ryan Daniels. So there's an S on the end, just in case you... Well, you said Ryan Daniel, and you're half an hour late for the show, so there's a couple of mistakes straight off the bat.
You say half an hour, but don't forget he's half an hour late off the half an hour extension he asked for. So he's technically an hour late from the agreed time. But before we go, mate, you're in Adelaide for Gather Round. You were lucky enough to get over there.
Yeah, I am. And I've got a few things I'm supposed to be doing, but I've been sitting here for an hour waiting for Nick Rinn to get his
There was
self
a
together.
meeting I've been trying to have for a long time, and it just kept going.
Yeah, almost
It
like
better be worth it.
Almost like this podcast we tried to get going for a long time. So
Similar.
All right, Rhino, let's before we do crack into the games that are still coming. Last night you got to Adelaide Oval?
I did. I was there. We're doing our sort of news crosses from Adelaide Oval. It was fantastic. Mate, Gather Round is unbelievable. Like, for anyone who hasn't gone, I know you're probably sick of hearing about how bloody awesome it is. It is actually awesome. Everybody's happy. Everybody's buzzing. Every pub is full. There's like, I'm looking out the window now. I can see 6 different supporter groups randomly walking around. Even a Gold Coast Suns fan, which is incredible in the pink. It is actually remarkable. And not just that, and I'm not name dropping here, but you walk around and you just see everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I went for a coffee before, was Andy Mars sitting there with Jake Nile and Peter Ryan.
I don't think that's...
So you have a chat.
I don't think that classifies as name dropping, mate.
Andy Mars.
I thought you were going to say like Chris Judd, Dermott, and Lee Matthews. No.
Well, not if you're a journo nerd. The journo nerd world, those are big names.
They are. Just quickly before we do move on from last night's game, Geelong I've been wrong about. I tipped Adelaide last night. I backed Adelaide. I thought Adelaide were going to be too good. Not very often we get 2 teams scoring over 100 these days.
Yeah, and it was like, that was the game. Like, it was funny because I was watching Geelong, because remember last week they did the thing against Melbourne where they chipped it around heaps in the back line and they dominated the footy. They did the opposite last night. So it was, you could tell that whatever their game plan was, it was like, just go forward at all costs. So they weren't mucking around with it at all at halfback, because when they did, Adelaide was pressuring them into turnovers. So it was interesting to watch the Cats play in a completely different style. It's almost like they went, all right, Adelaide want to score, we've got to score with them.
Yeah.
Like, instead of the other way and trying to suffocate Adelaide, it was almost like they realised that they couldn't. So it's something to watch.
It hurts me to say I was wrong about Geelong because I've been right about them for so long.
Yeah,
and I jumped off the ship, but they look like they're back being the best they are going to be.
When you get that quick ball into Paddy Dangerfield, it's looking very nice, isn't it?
Paddy Dangerfield is unbelievable.
He's throwing himself at those contests like nothing.
Oh, he looks phenomenal. So can I ask now, the Crows are 3-2. They've been okay in the 2 losses.
No, they won't win the flag. They can't win the flag.
Finals.
Found it interesting. Like Crouchy comes back in, and then the Peatling was brilliant at the Gold Coast Suns.
GWS.
Just it's funny how last week when Crouchy
against the
played.
Gold Coast.
It's just funny how they're going to get that mix right. Like it looked brilliant when they bashed up on the shit teams, but that's not how it plays against the good teams.
I mean, Jordan Dawson had a bit of a stinker, and that happens once a year kind of thing.
Yeah. Tagger's getting a hold of these good players at the moment. Anyway.
Back in vogue.
Okay, let's go straight in. Collingwood, Sydney. Tonight, Adelaide Oval, 20 metres from where I'm sitting right now. Collingwood are $1.70. Sydney at $2.15. Big ins. None really for Collingwood, but they've got a few big outs. Dan Houston, Jordan De Goey, Lockie Schultz. So they are weaker.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue... Schultz was their best player last week. De Goey, not in great form, but a match winner. And Dan Houston, of course, is Dan Houston. Sydney, no ins, no outs. So, to me, Collingwood's gone down a notch from their talent space, and Sydney are getting consistent. So, there could be an upset on the cards here.
Collingwood's still favourites at $1.70.
Yeah, which hurts me because I dived in early in the week, not knowing that. I knew Houston was gone. Didn't think of that at the time. Knew De Goey had an injury. Didn't think of that at the time. And also Lockie Schultz knew he was injured. I didn't think of that at the time. But look, I still got to go with Collingwood tonight. I think they're going to be. I think they're on song. I think Sydney got the win that they needed last week over, of course, the North Melbourne Footy Club. But North Melbourne are no benchmark. I think Collingwood, if I'm right about Collingwood this year and where I think they can get to, I don't think they're going to have problems with the Sydney Swans.
Not on a Friday night at Adelaide Oval.
No, yeah, an away game essentially. But I've got one for us tonight, by the way. Do you want a little cheeky one?
What do you got?
Well,
Yeah,
well, Harry Perryman, 2 weeks ago, you know the Harry Perryman, all the big money, everything, and he hadn't really shown anything. Did 0 centre bounces two games ago. Did 10 centre bounces of the 16 last game. He's in around the footy, in the midfield. He played pretty well last game. He's $9 for Group B, most disposals. That, my friend, rather than mucking around on a result with the 50-50 Sydney v Collingwood, I'm just saying.
It's his week to pop.
It's his week to pop in Group B.
Okay, that's counted as popping.
Can I ask the question I'm sure you don't have the answer to? Who else is in Group B?
No, I looked at it. It was like Scott Pendlebury's and those sort of characters. It wasn't.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't a full field. I'm telling you right now.
Pendlebury's moved to the B team.
Pendles has moved to the B team, and I don't have it right now because I can't find it. But I did go through, and it looked pretty. Lipinski, Crisp, Cameron, Darcy Cameron, Perryman, Bice, Blakey, Jordan, Rowbottom.
Bice might get you.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Riley Bice, 20 plus disposals, $1.50.
Okay, you're going to dangle around with that. I can see that. But tell you, just before we do go, I just want Nick Dacos to have a week where he's not tagged.
Yeah.
Hewitt last
That's
week,
not gonna be tonight.
Jordan tonight, and then round 1 had Bedford. So he's run into 3 reasonable run with players. So going to be interesting. Collingwood, toss the coin for me.
North Melbourne paying $3.90 against the Gold Coast, or $1.25. That's at the Barossa Park out in Lyndoch. The massive ins for North Melbourne, there aren't any. They've gone with O'Sullivan, Dersmer, and Fisher. The big outs, not really any. And Gold Coast, Nick Holman replaces Butterick. So the teams are pretty much stable. Gold Coast, if they're the real deal, they go to the Barossa and they win this game by probably 6 goals. So they're paying $1.90 for 25 plus. And I feel like that's a pretty good bet if they're the real deal, which I think we think they are.
Yeah, I think they're the real deal. I have feel for Connor Butterick. That guy just can't get a run at it.
Yeah.
He's played
Has
3
he
or
ever
4
done
games.
anything when he's in?
Yeah, I think so. Well, he's never had I'd be interested to see the biggest run of games he's had in the side. I reckon it's like 10.
I know he'd be critical. I also want to see a run of him getting a kick too.
Yeah, when he was on half back, he was very nice. But he was building into something and he's just never got a chance.
Yeah, fair point. I wrote on my sheet, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. North Melbourne, you are not getting a penny from me again this season. I'd give up. But it's going to be good to see Finn and Zane, of course, Dersmer back in, high draft picks. I think going forward, Dersmer's going to be that character who adds a bit of spunk and spark, that half forward. Could be a 30-goal kicker a year, plus get midfield time. I think he's vitally important to North Melbourne's growth. And then, of course, Finn O'Sullivan returns from being ill last week.
Yeah, and you think with the Dersmer types, like the others come in and draft, and you can play a role pretty quickly on a half-back or a
McKercher off
wing.
half-back, Sheasel off half-back.
It just takes longer to get going as a forward, doesn't it?
Well, it's bloody hard, and that's the conversations we've had again about West Coast half-forwards v. Darcy Jones for the Giants. Darcy Jones for the Giants is in a position where he's not guaranteed success, but promoted success by the way they play. Whereas, half forward at North Melbourne.
Yeah. Well, Darcy Jones knows if he runs, someone will find him.
Yeah.
With the
helmet head.
West Coast.
So no chance for North Melbourne.
No.
I think I'm with you.
There's a bit of the unknown of the ground itself, but I mean, still.
Are you making your way to the Barossa?
I am making my way to the Barossa. I'll be there on Sunday for Richmond, Fremantle, and of course the Sunday Rub national program. So I'll be doing that out there.
They reckon
so that's exciting.
They reckon the best thing you've done on the Sunday Rub was me give you shit.
Carlton $1.11
Yeah.
against West Coast, $6.50. The ins for Carlton. Harry Mackay is a big inclusion. They got a debutant, Matt Carroll. The outs, nothing significant there. The West Coast ins, Harry Edwards, Jake Waterman, Liam Ryan, Jack Hutchinson. Dropped Tim Kelly, which is a big call. Tom Cole, also premiership defender, dropped. Long and Brockman dropped. So Minnie McQualter has come with a selection axe and gone, everybody's on notice. I don't care what your name is. If you're a star midfielder, as Tim Kelly often gets referred to, if you're not playing well, you're out.
Tim Kelly, though, now he was a very good player. He's not a star these days, and I think that's probably the problem. Is that he's expected to be the one but would he even get a game in the top 4 or 5 midfields? You'd find a place for him at half forward or whatever. But in those good teams, and he's carrying a load and a burden that I don't think at his age and how long he's been in the system for. I don't think he's capable of it.
He's never been a number one man.
No, the baton was meant to be passed on to someone else 4 or 5 years ago. Just quickly, look at these. Look, Ryan, we're just quickly talking about it. These names that are in and out at Carlton. Like, this sums up
Tells you Carlton.
Carlton, this sums it up. Cottrell, Carroll, Durden, Young, Cowan, Moyer.
I think it's Moyer.
And Lord. Like, good Lord, who are these characters? And that's why they're no good. But they are flat track bullies. And I tell you what, I think they're going to absolutely belt West Coast.
They probably will, won't they?
I think they probably will. The
gaps there is, I thought it would be a bit tighter, the line.
Did you?
Yeah.
38 and a half. I'm going 38 and a half, 45 and a half, 55 and a half, 65 and a half. Okay. And I've gone over 100. So
I just don't have the faith in the Blues.
I don't have the faith in the Blues, but I think West Coast, Andrew McCall is starting to lay the law down. I don't think you're going to see instant success out of that, but at least the club's on notice.
So can you get a day pass to Adelaide Oval? Because that's not you're running into, what are you running into? Carlton, West Coast, and then on the back of that, you've Melbourne, Essendon. It's not the best days work at the big ground.
See, I reckon Carlton, West Coast, there's a bit of fascination here. Like the two games that everyone was talking about, or the three games, is obviously Port Hawthorn, last night's game, because everyone was pretty fascinated about how Adelaide would go. And then the West Coast Carlton one is one that everyone's talking about because they want to see if there's a disaster coming. And, we spoke about, Vossi and what happens if this goes down. Like, there's a lot of fascination with it. And then there's the Tim Kelly dropping. And West Coast have almost nothing to lose here.
Yeah.
Because everyone expects them to get belted. Everyone expects Carlton to flog them.
I think
and what if it doesesn't happen?
Yeah, I think they do have a little bit to lose. I think more and more now people are getting sick of everything. Like, just getting sick of everything. Talking to one of the players this morning, and they were saying that it's really turning up at the moment. The pressure, really turning up. So anyway, interesting to see how that pans out.
So hold on, which player were you talking to? Is this off the record or on the record?
Off, but the pressure and the noise is louder and louder and louder.
Oh God,
interesting.
Bulldogs,
still
Brisbane.
In the tent. Okay, Bulldogs in Brisbane, $2.65 for the doggies. The Lions, $1.48. That one's at Norwood, which is a beautiful oval, and a high possession game last year at Norwood. Both of the games last year put up big numbers for both sides. So it'll be interesting to see if that translates. They got a debutant, Cooper Hines. Johannesson's back. That's the Dogs. Brisbane, no changes at all.
Don't you just look to see for names like Bontempelli, Treloar,
next week,
Waitman? None of those guys are back. They tried really hard last week against Fremantle. They won the inside 50s by 19. That keeps you in games. So I do think last week watching it,
bit of class.
They needed a Treloar, they needed a Bont, and they needed a Waitman just to put the cream on top of some of the good work that was going on. Like plus 19 inside 50s, not going to lose many games doing that. But I look at that now, Rhino, and I think that going against the Premiers who are unchanged and starting to feel in sync a little bit, the Dogs will try hard, but I can't see them getting past the Brisbane Lions.
Can I ask, if you had to pick an upset this week, and so the upset teams would be, I guess you put Sydney in that mark, but I'm talking big upset. So it's really North Melbourne, West Coast, the Bulldogs,
St Kilda
Richmond,
over GWS,
St Kilda or Port. Which of those teams would you bet your life on if you had to?
An upset? I think I'd go Port Adelaide.
Because I was thinking for me it might be the Dogs because we haven't been that impressed by Brisbane. They're just going. They're 4-0, but they're just going.
I was thinking it'd be the Saints just because they've been doing it.
Yeah, the Saints have been doing it, but the Giants have been looking good. You're right. The Lions feel like they're stuck in third gear.
Yeah,
like they're not quite grinding
but
into
again,
fourth.
That's how you build it, isn't it? Like you've won a flag, you got to take a half step back, but at least they're just getting results.
But you look at it, Will Ashcroft's starting to play really good football. Lockie Neal's starting to get 30s and 40s again. Dunkley's having a season better than he was last year.
Cam Rain is starting to come good.
I just think the wheels are starting to turn. It'll click. I can't see the Doggies getting the chocolates there. It's Brisbane for me.
Brisbane.
The next one is the least interesting game of the round. Melbourne and Essendon.
I'm
Melbourne
interested in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, mate.
I just want to confirm to myself that Melbourne are a bottom four side.
Okay.
And this is a perfect measuring stick.
Well, what are they? Melbourne's $1.97, Essendon's $1.84. That sort of tells you where they're at.
I'll back Essendon there. I'll be taking the $1.84. Nothing significant changes. Why Jai Caldwell out? That is a reasonable out for Essendon. Don't get me wrong. But Will Settlefield comes in. And he just seems to. He's probably a 6 out of 10 in that role, but he just grinds away.
Mate, don't get him started on Will Setterfield. We don't have to do this again, do we?
It's finally he gets a chance. But it's interesting that they bring him in instead of giving Hobbs the chance. Like,
Yeah.
Setterfield is going to come in and he has to play inside mid because that's what he is. I guess he's played a bit of wing in the past, but really his best foot is an inside mid. So clearly they think they can win this game. They want to go with someone a bit more tried and tested. Caldwell's a big loss. Caldwell's been playing really, really good footy. Lindsay in for Melbourne. I actually kind of like what he was putting in.
Yeah, I like Xavier Lindsay.
I actually reckon Melbourne will win this game. I actually reckon they'll turn up and win this one. I think it's not an easy kill for them, but this is a perfect time to get Essendon. Not an easy kill, but you know how much I don't rate Essendon.
But you know how much I don't rate Melbourne.
This is why this game is going to be.
In what world is Melbourne going to just beat Essendon? What's going to happen? Max Gawn's going to be 4 years younger. Clayton Oliver's going to run harder. Christian Petrarca's going to not throw his mouth guard. In what world are Melbourne going to be just getting over the top of Essendon?
Yeah, there's a bit of that. This is the game I am absolutely least excited to watch. I don't even think so.
I could guarantee I'm locked in tomorrow.
we can't do our crosses inside Adelaide Oval tomorrow night because of the Fox blockout, the Fox footy blockout.
You're not allowed Saturday.
No, so we'll do it outside. But then I have the chance, obviously, to go in and watch it. I don't think I'm going to go in and watch that game. I think that's how much I don't care about it.
Have you got mates over there?
I've got people I enjoy spending time with, so if I wanted to catch up with people, I could.
It's probably then.
Yeah, I would say that's probably a time. Where are you watching this? At a pub? I'll come and meet you.
Hey,
I reckon that's probably
You're not going to sit on
the
the hill or something?
Hey, look at Ryan's forehead quickly. Does it look like he's had something in the forehead?
Yeah, maybe a quick jab. There's a big gather around special at the airport. You can get a jab if you're a media member coming.
Just leave your forehead untouched. Just stare at the camera. I'm thinking that's had something. That's had a bullet or two in it, I think. We'll chuck this up on...
Raise your eyebrows. Can you raise your eyebrows?
No, that'll do a set. We will chuck this up on socials.
Put a poll out.
Minus the eyebrows.
Geez, that was yeah.
And we'll put a poll out to go needled or not needled. Okay.
He's the other side of 40 now, you know. You got to maintain.
I couldn't see his eyes underneath that shine. All right, sorry, mate.
Hey, do you know what? It's just good skin.
I tip my hat to you. You do have nice skin.
It's the Thornley water.
It is. Richmond and Fremantle at the Barossa. $6.75 for Richmond, $1.10 for the Fremantle Dockers. The Inns, there's a lot of names you probably never heard of. They've got a debutant, Jonty Fall. For the Dockers, they have Lawler's out for Richmond, which is actually a big deal.
Was that injury or
a hip? But I don't think significant, yeah.
Fremantle have gone big. They've got Hayden Young in, Sam Switkowski, Sean Darcy, obviously Luke Jackson, O'Driscoll out. So the interesting one with Darcy was, Young I think was always going to play, barring any setback this week.
Yeah.
Darcy was interesting because I think he's ready to go. Like he played that game in the Waffle and played most of the game. The issue they have is after this, they play in 6 days over in Melbourne, and then they play in 6 days after that.
Are they setting him up to fail? 6 days, 6 day, underprepared.
So he's got to play 3 games in the space of what's that, 19 days? Like that's a lot. And he'll be doing the significant portion of the rucking. So I think they battled with it, but at the end of the day, he's ready to go. So I think what they might do is, okay, well, we'll play Sean this game. There's every chance that next game they go, okay, well, let's play Liam Reedy as well, or let's...
Why in the world would they do that against Richmond?
Because I think he's ready to go. You're actually just...
But if he's ready to go and he can't play next week, then he's not ready to go.
Well, he might play next week. I'm just saying that they're going to have to manage his minutes a little bit. I think they'll have to navigate this.
And then my man Vossi's going to have to carry the team again, is he?
Well, Vossi's going to have to do a bit. Yeah, I reckon he'll have to do a bit. And I reckon if that game gets away from Richmond, and let's say it's halfway through the third quarter and Freo's up by 45, Darcy's going to get subbed. Like, I can't see how he wouldn't.
I would like to see...
bets I like here.
Sorry, you go.
The bets I like here, Tracy's 3+ goals, $1.71. He's ready to tear one apart. Yeah. And Bolton, 2+ goals against his old team, $1.65. And he's ready to go too.
And of course, Noah Bolton not playing after he was available to play.
Yeah.
That really was handled a little bit messily, wasn't it? Like,
really bad.
Really bad. I think a bit of pressure I heard may have been put on the club to...
Well, I think it would have been fine until that vision came out. Yeah. Then it was just, no.
But even this week, there was talk of him playing and stuff. So it really went around in circles. I think the club probably should have said, look, no one's not playing until this date.
Yeah.
Correct.
Once it's been heard.
Well, he's played guilty as well.
Adam Uze at his press conference sort of danced around it. He should have just come out and said, look, we understand there's a lot of talk about this. We understand there's a lot of factors at play here. We just want to make it clear that Noah isn't available for AFL selection this week. He needs to get his minutes up. We're going to play him in the VFL All-Stars versus whatever it is. We're going to do that. and we'll look at it the week after because his sentencing is only 2 weeks away.
That's what I was thinking.
So
Just don't play for 2 weeks.
It's not that long to wait.
Just say we're going to have to wait till shit resolves.
Just really quickly, Fremantle line 38.5. Fill your boots.
Yeah,
responsibly, of
Oh,
course.
yeah. That one seems like a no-brainer. St Kilda, GWS at Norwood. This is an exciting game. Somehow St Kilda have turned into an exciting team. Jack Steele is back for them. Liam Henry looks like he's going to return as well. So Cornelio is named in the teams, but he's not going to play.
Why is that?
I just don't think he's over.
Yeah, okay.
No, he's not over the injury that he's been carrying. And then Brent Daniels is out as well. So
Harvey Thomas
they're a little bit weaker.
There, eh?
Well, it's either Thomas or my man McMuffin. One of those two is going to come in.
So the Mad
play.
Monday boys are back.
Yeah, it's clear.
Yes, they are. Up
All
and about.
clear,
So how do we feel about this one? Are St Kilda a chance?
Yeah. Well, you can't say they're not, right, after their month.
Well, no, you can't. I do agree with that. Them and Geelong are the two I thought would flip. I thought Geelong would be down. I thought St Kilda would be down. Jack Steele comes in, and funnily enough, I know it's a big name. I don't know the way it's getting into like we love Matty Crouch, but unless they've got the footy, they're very slow leaving the area. And if you're against a running side, I know that the Giants are a running side. Like, you're going to chase arse, and I'm not sure Jack Steele's in those sort of areas these days. I can't see St Kilda getting within a bull's roar of St Kilda. I know they've won a few on the road recently, but leave me out of it. I know Brett Daniels a big out being a half forward. That forward line, it could be a day that Stringer finally breaks through and kicks some goals.
Yeah.
But there's no way in the world that St Kilda can win that game. The free-flowing running game, I know Norwood's a bit narrow. That might make it a little bit harder to charge forward the Orange Tsunami, but I can't give St Kilda too many pats on the back for this game other than they've been good previously, but the Giants will beat them.
Could be a good game.
I'll watch it. What about me? I think I've said I'll watch it to every single game. Yeah. I'll watch it.
You still watch every game?
No, I don't. No, too hard now. But I did there for a long time.
Let's go to Port Adelaide Hawthorn, the last game of the round. Port, $2.80. Hawthorn, $1.43. Travis Boak in for Port Adelaide. Darcy
I know
Ben
you're going
Jones
to talk
is
about
out.
in Hawthorn. You probably gave a big stiffy when you do it here as well.
Oh,
I took my man Huswaite.
Yeah, this is right.
the only thing is
he's probably not going to play.
There's one name at the start of that list that definitely will play.
Yeah, well, yes.
And then the one at the end probably won't.
No.
Yeah, correct. So that's what I was looking at. I thought, well, he's not going to play anyway. So Day comes out and Warple basically will just come straight back in. So Huswaite has been tearing it up in the VFL.
Well, yeah,
he's
shot.
ready to go. I'll tell you what, if there were a trade period in season and you're a team with needing young midfielders like, say, a West Coast, you'd go, I'll just take a chance on a Henry Huswaite. What do you want?
Yeah.
So Warple will come in for Day. Let's just talk about maybe the Will Day thing first and say, how big an impact do you think that has on Hawthorn's chances to not just win a premiership, because he'll be back at some point, you hope, but also to just win games in the meantime?
As we spoke about on Monday, I think Hawthorn are brilliant at being the best in set positions. The Wizard could be the best small forward in the game. D'Ambrosio could be the best wingman in the game. Sicily could be the best third defender in the game. They don't have that superstar, and I know Will Day's not in that category, but he's heading in that direction, and that's probably the one player that when the whips are cracking, and I know that Newcomb's in there and Warple's in there, they're great players. They're triers, like really, really just meat and veg characters.
Yep.
Will Day is a little bit outside that, I
yeah.
think. He's the class that the defence has got class with Amon and Impey.
He's
The
20s
midfield-
worth 35 from the others.
Correct. And I reckon he was really starting to ramp up from the 18 to 20s to 20s to 22, 24, 25 disposals and goals. I think it's going to really, really hurt Hawthorn.
The benefit is they've got to get past Port Adelaide and Geelong, but then they run into West Coast and Richmond and Melbourne. It's a 3-week block.
It's 4 months, though.
Is it 4 months?
4 months. Yeah, so it's
And it's navicular, which these things can be career-ending. Like, let's hope that's not the case. But this isn't just a simple injury where it's like, all right, you've got to heal this hamstring and you'll be back before you die. Like, this is like we've got to be really careful. It might take longer. We might have to rule him out for the season to get him right. This is no guarantee that he comes back and he's ready to go in 4 months. Like, this is delicate.
I didn't know it was a navicular, and I think the problems with navicular is, you're right, if something significant happens, then it's really bad. So that's going to hurt Will Day. There's just no untaggable there now, and then it probably just flows on. Do you lock down a Sicily or someone like that? So, yeah, I'm going to find that hard. Look, gun to head, obviously I'm picking Hawthorn, but I can see a revved up Port, who have been deplorable, putting up a good fight.
Agreed.
Okay, it's time for our multis, and I'm feeling pretty good about this one. I'm going to the St Kilda GWS clash at Norwood on Sunday. Okay, Lockie Whitfield, 30 touches.
Yep.
Very nice.
Can happen.
Jack McRae, 30 touches.
Yeah.
Very nice. Giants to win the game by 16 plus. Feel good about that.
You feel good about that?
That is paying.
Again,
I feel pretty good about
you
it.
feel you're playing in pretty safe areas here.
He's a missionary
I
man.
do that.
Yeah.
I play missionary with my multis, $5.60, and I feel like that's a winnable multi because I want winning multis.
But of course, if you do want to find these multis, each of our multis will be under the trending bets for that game market on the Tab Touch app. Of course, these are all same game multis. You can boost all your odds in one single game with these same game multis. And Rhino, you've ripped the pieces St Kilda and the Giants. What about you, Rennie?
Oh, I'm going to go in on Western Bulldogs and Brisbane. I'm sort of sticking to Queensland teams. I think I've rolled with the Gold Coast game the last couple. Brisbane at the line, which is 13.5. Cam Rayner to score a goal. Zach Bailey to score a goal. Thought I'd go the dynamic duo.
Yep.
And then give it to the Doc on the wing. Have at least 25 disposals. You wrap that all up, and that's $15.
All right, don't worry about looking for that one. Don't worry
50,
about.
I know, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Don't worry about looking for that one under the trending bets. Just skip that one.
Excuse me. That's all good.
All right, we're heading to, and usually
Don't you like the Doc? Why do you hate the
No,
Doc?
I love the Doc, but usually you see
A
the
lot to
Eagles
ask.
games are on the schedule and you think, oh, God, it's going to be hard to sit through. We're going to be at the pub for this one, and it's going to be interesting. It's paying $9, so unpack this with me. Carlton v West Coast. Adam Chera to have 20 disposals. Big tick that.
Yep.
That's just
I
tick.
like that.
Big, may as well just tick it without the game even starting. Sam Walsh found a little bit of form last week. He'll run around and get 25 touches, no dramas
hope
there.
so.
There's not a midfielder at West Coast that could keep up with Sam Walsh. Blake Acres out on the wing. He had a big game the last match he played. He'll get 20 disposals. So those three are just tick, tick, tick. Done.
Yep.
So that's what I call the fruit in a multi. And then Carlton will win by 10 goals. So they're going to win by 60 points or more. That's $9. So always gamble responsibly and make sure you shoot me a text saying, thank you, Big Pepsi.
You did see, I saw you were getting cold sweats seeing the Pepsi Sweet last night, right?
Oh, gosh. Rhino got up me today. He reckons the vibe around the Pepsi Sweet wasn't the same.
Mate, it's dead. So we, where we do our live crosses from, we have to walk back to the hotel, the Adelaide Oval Hotel. You got to walk around the ground, and you have to go through the Pepsi Club. And I can tell you, it was sad. It was like
There's a missing piece.
like it was like they just turned the lights on at the pub after the last song, and it was just a few oldies walking around straggling. There was a bloke throwing up in the corner.
Closing time was
no
being
music.
played.
Yeah,
It's closing
yeah. Mate,
time.
It was awful. You could just tell the Pepsi people are looking around going, what's changed? What have we missing from
Something's
last
gone,
year?
yeah.
It's pretty clear what it is. It's our man.
Maybe they need a live show in there next year.
Watch me next year when we're in here. I'll have like a Pepsi sign over my forehead. Anyway.
Darcy Fogarty wimped out on his can.
No, there was a
Yes.
What happened?
No,
What was
he
the
took
deal?
it off. He didn't want it to be a distraction.
Right.
So they did the deal and then he ripped it off last minute.
Okay. Anyway,
They
just
lost anyway. Should have just gone
Yeah,
with it.
should have gone with it. Just quickly before we do go, we do need to say, of course, these bets and stuff we do put on, always gamble responsibly because the question is, what is gambling really costing you?
All right, and that's been the teams for the Friday. Thanks very much for joining us. Got the touch. Download the Tab Touch app today. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. We'll see you next week.